Respected teachers, senior ophthalmologists, I'm going to talk on the role of anterior vitrectomy when it comes to SACS, something slightly different from the other things. We all can have a PCR when we do cataract surgery, so there's no hiding the fact, but then we'll have to start managing it to get better results is what I'm going to talk about. So the basic principles of any management of PCR is the fear of PCR should go away, and then we should turn these fear into actions in managing them. Like how sir actually started off telling how we can use the basic principles that we do in phaco and bring it to SICS. So the principles are the same when we manage the rent. So one is the first thing is the early recognition at what step the rent actually happens. And once we find that out, how we prevent it by putting viscoelastic and keeping the chamber tight and making sure that the rent does not extend. And then doing a good cortical cleanup and making sure there is no vitreous that is remaining in the wound, and then placing the IOL. So now let us see some SACS cases where we apply these techniques. So the first thing every surgeon should know is the anterior vitrectomy. So in SACS, we have two, we can make another side port. So we can use these two side ports to perform the anterior vitrectomy, one using the irrigation, the second using the cutter. So first thing, we have a case of a rent in a small incision. I always prefer to use triamcinolone because for two options. One, it helps us to stain the vitreous very clearly. And the second thing is some amount of these crystals can go and prevents the post-op CME also. You can see here one side infusion cannula, the other side cutter. You can use 20 gauge, 23 gauge, whatever is available. And then always stay in the center. The trick here is don't go towards the iris because these cutters can eat away the iris fast. But then slowly times are changing. So they're talking about the pars plana approach. So we can use the pars plana approach also in managing a larger rents. As you can see, this small incision case had had a rupture, a large rupture. Again, I'm using the tricot and then wash it away so that you can see there's only the vitreous strands that get stained so that you know exactly how much of vitreous to cut. Otherwise, we won't know how much we're cutting. So we can introduce these trocars. Initially, there is a learning curve. We have a class where you can teach how to introduce the trocar assisted thing. The only advantage is the vitreous is coming from back. So once you go through the pars plana approach, you have to cut only less vitreous. See, it is almost over. So you don't have to spend more time coming through the anterior approach because sometimes more and more vitreous tends to come in small incision cataract surgery. So you can use the pars plana approach and then clear all the vitreous in the section. See, the vitreous in the center is cleared, the section. And once that is done, we should make sure we check the integrity of the capsule. That is when I think all the speakers have told the importance of converting to a rhexis. So when we have a rhexis, I think it solves most of our problems. So once you know the integrity is there, put viscoelastic between the iris and the anterior capsule. So this gives us a space to know exactly where we can keep the lens in the sulcus, even though it is such a large rent. So I prefer the 3-piece or the rigid lenses. They're more stable and easier to do. So you can see the first haptic has to make sure it goes under the iris. You can see the margins clearly. And I use the two-step technique. So I just leave the second haptic. I don't try to push it inside because that can tear the margin. So go through the side port, catch the optic haptic junction. And here where you see the rhexis margin, place it there. And after that, I think too much of maneuver should not be there because these structured cases, it can slip out. So once we know the stable iris, we can leave it. So we surgeons, we know sometimes we can end up with complications where we lose the bag also. So my simple choice on SICS would be the iris claw lenses. We do a lot of iris claw lenses since most of us are training institutes and we should have a backup. So after a good vitrectomy, you can see fill the chamber with viscoelastics. So these are the iris claw lenses. So you can go under the iris and make sure you clip it in the mid periphery of the iris. The trick here that is only prevents it from getting those oval iris. Catch the lens, take it under the iris. By that time, my second instrument is already ready where we are going to fix the claw lenses. And then in the mid periphery. So here also, when you have a complication, when you lose the entire bag, we don't have to worry. We don't have to refer it. We anterior segment surgeons itself can place an iris clip lens and have such good results with good dilatation and make sure you hydrate the wound. So the importance of anterior vitrectomy is the same for all cataract surgeries. It helps us because the question comes, why we need a good vitrectomy? It helps us to prevent these post-op CMEs. And also sometimes when the vitreous is pushing the lens, we all know the chances of endophthalmitis is very high when we leave vitreous in the wound, and also these decentered lenses where you can have a glare effect. Thank you. Once again, I'd like to thank the entire IMS Society for giving this wonderful opportunity.